Hey everyone, it's Julian, and it's time for the Week 3 Shadowverse Worlds Beyond meta update, and we got a couple fun things to talk about. This is going to be a little bit different from last week's. I'm basically just going to be talking about the new stuff that has come out and the new stuff that has developed in the meta, and not really give a tier list, because really there's only a couple changes in the tier list that I would say, and we're kind of just in the set 2 waiting room right now. I think we've gotten this meta pretty figured out, but we still have some updates, and there's some room to maneuver here in the last week or week-ish of this set 1 meta, and I'm really excited to talk about it with you all. Yeah, if you guys are excited for set 2, you know, I'm going to be doing a ton of videos about it. I will be doing a stream reacting to the stream of the announcement, and that will be tomorrow, or in, 36 hours? I'll talk about that later on in this video, but if you are excited for that, come check me out. And yeah, so let's start with Forest. I want to say the Rise of Forest, but it's been, it's been under the water. You saw the shark fin, right? You saw the shark fin for the last 3 weeks. Now it's Jaws, it's out, Forest is definitely taking the top spot right now. In the meta, a very famous YouTuber, Rigsy, did a tournament, and the top 4, it was the format was 2-deck best of 1, so like how we will be playing in SVO, and all 4 spots were taken up by Forest. So we have Forest and Abyss, Forest and Sword, Forest and Haven, and then Forest and Haven. So, one thing I do want to talk about, so we'll talk about Force in a second, because I want to get into that, more fully, but, side, tangent thing is, there was a lot of people talking about, when they announced the 2-deck best of 1, that sort of, the results would be muddied by the fact that you could just bring a deck you're never going to play. And I disagreed with that, and I didn't think that would be an issue, because I didn't really think about the fact that we could have a 1-deck format. Like, in a 1-deck format where there's literally, like, no counter, or maybe, like, a counter, then you are going to have decks, like you see the top 4s filled with Abyss, 2 Havens, and Sword. Like, that is going to muddy the results in the water a lot, and I'm not too big of a fan of that. That's something that I sort of disregarded when we talked about the demerits of 2-deck best of 1, which I already don't like. And there's a huge negative. I didn't think this was going to be a realistic thing, but in a theoretical 1-deck meta, or a meta where 1 deck has a very high win percentage and has really good matchups, you are going to see weird decks like Abyss, Haven, stuff like that may have a chance to counter it or whatever, or just has a chance to counter that one deck that counters the best deck, right? So it is going to be is Abyss the second best deck? Hell no, it ain't even close to the second best deck. But we're going to get people, especially if people aren't, aware of the fact that that's, how the meta within the meta, right? The meta of the 2-deck best of 1, people are just going to see the results and be like, hey, wow, Abyss is crazy. I got to play this, and they're going to get whooped on, whatever, on ladder. So, sort of side tangent. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Because right now I'm even more out on 2-deck best of 1. I was already damn, this sucks. This is awful. I think this is really bad. I don't think this is good. But, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Forest. So Forest, of course, it, like I said, the shark fin, right? It was always there a little bit, right? But it was but I think now people have figured out the build, figured out how to play it. And it's very, very strong. It has a lot of really good matchups. And as you can see, this build has the Carbuncle. The baby Carbuncle is a new addition. It's just a way to bounce it. Of course, on the Super Evolve, it gives you 3 play points back, so it's kind of extra ways to get more cards played, kind of. Pretty interesting. We also have the one of Aaron. Aaron, for me, if I had to give like a award for like card that I think will be the most like, wow, how did we not talk about that card in set 1 when set 2 comes out? It's Aaron. And this card, when you read this card, it's like 7-drop 6/8, kills something and heals you. Like, that's nuts. If we get more mid-range force support, I definitely think Aaron is going to fit right in, is going to be very strong. We see how good and how many decks that are good have that sort of removal without evos, right? That was something I talked about in my last meta update. And this card is one of the best that does it, right? It's very comparable to a Geno from Sword, right? So yeah, obviously it doesn't have the double like capabilities of like killing 2 things, but it has the ward and the heal to make up for that. And yeah, so really, really like that card. But the overall deck of Force right now is very Roach heavy. It's a fairly complicated deck, but it is, like I said, one of its downsides, not necessarily in its strength, but in its play style, is you can't win if you don't have Roach. Like, is the chance that you don't get Roach is low, but if you do, you can't win. There's no way to win the game without the one card. And that's sort of why I'm not too big of a fan of these type of play styles and these type of decks, but it is very, very strong. If you are interested in a deck like this, if you are interested in sort of a combo deck, a deck to like really invest in and learn, and it's also very cheap. You only need Olivia, which is something we'll talk about in a second. Definitely pick this up, try it. If you're new to this game or card games or whatever, you're going to have, I think, an easier time picking something up like this because you don't have any like base of reference, right, for like how the game is played or whatever, you know. So play this deck. It's really good. I don't think it'll get nerfed or anything. I don't think anything is like nerf worthy. I think it's just it's a really strong deck with the card pool we have right now, because there's no real ways to counter it. We don't really have any good decks that have like a ton of wards either. Like Sword is the closest thing, but Sword has other issues against this deck as well, because they have Glade, and Glade just, you know, tears through boards, and they're in the mid game, right? The 5-drop 3/3 that on Evo deals damage equal to the amount of cards you have in your hand. But yeah, we're looking for like more wards, more heals as well, just to be like to have a like I would expect the counter to this deck that would come out in set 2 would be a deck with a bunch of wards and with a bunch of healing, where, you know, a lot of Force Roach has to basically set up 2 turn lethals, where you're not like OTKing, you're not going from 20 to 0, but you are going like, okay, here's the turn where I'm doing a Roach for like 7, and then hopefully he doesn't heal, or, you know, we kind of math out that he can't heal, and then we have next turn double Roach and we're good, right? So a deck that would be able to heal back up from that first Roach and deal with the board, and maybe set up some blockades, some wards for the next Roach the next turn, would be my idea of like a counter deck that could come out in set 2. But we'll have to see. So that is Forced. And then basically the second like update for this meta, very fun. I am very happy about this. I don't want to be the guy, and also it's like this deck's like we're still in the beginnings of this deck, right? I don't want to be the guy that was like you know, told you so. But Spicy's I think that's how you pronounce it. It looks like how you pronounce it. But he's a professional Shadowverse player from the original game. I've been watching his streams a lot. He's a really fun watch. And also I love that his stream like has like, even in his description it says super low bit rate. Whenever he evolves, it literally the screen just goes gray. Like it's just, but really fun to watch. I love that he has his win percentage and his win rate on the stream as well. But he came up with, I guess we're just gonna call it Kagemitsu, the Kagemitsu deck. And again, I don't want to be told you so, but I was pretty not high, but I was pretty like, a lot of people were shitting on Kagemitsu. I was like, I think this card is gonna be good at some point. And it's good right now. This deck is really interesting. I would, if you have the stuff to try it, I would give it a try. If you know, got a bunch of Kagemitsus and you can't dust anything, or you can't vial extra stuff, if you have a playset of Kagemitsu sitting, in your collection, give this list a try. Also, you can tinker with it too. I think there's a lot of ideas here that I like, and I think there's other things that maybe could be changed a little bit. But the basic idea is it's almost like a burn sword deck where you're playing a lot of storm, you're playing a good amount of removal, like you have the Vals and the dogs, and then you add like the Divine Thunder, and obviously Geno is just built-in removal. And then you get to this stage in the game where it's turn 7 or 8, and you have either the Urious Tentacles, which is a 7-drop, or the Centaur. And basically, Kagemitsu's coming back, reviving, and you can Super Evil Kagemitsu for the Storm, and then you can Urious Tentacles for 5 damage, that's 10 damage, or Centaur, play out from hand, and that's 12 damage, right? That's on 8. Same with Albert later on, right? There's a lot of ways to get a ton of late game damage with the Kagemitsu effect on, right? So you're kind of less, this deck is less about building a board and more about sort of developing a couple threats, right? Developing a couple threats that are like, hey, if you don't remove this, I'm going to add even more damage to this burst turn. But it's a lot about setting up the Kagemitsu, setting up these storms and these damage cards in your hand, and also setting up the ability to like we kind of talked about with the Roach, like set up like a 2-turn kill. Where it's like, hey, I have the tentacles right now. Let me tentacle and Kagemitsu, and the next turn I have the Centaur and we're good, or Albert, whatever, right? Very cool deck. I really, really like it. I would give it a try if you have the stuff. My idea for things I'd want to change a little bit. He's been playing with this list, and we'll talk about his results and stuff in a second here. My immediate ideas for things I might want to change and try is putting Amelia in here somewhere just to make the deck a little more consistent. I don't want to be so locked into this, like, gotta get Kagemitsu game plan or you kind of lose. And I'm also not too big of a fan of the Divine Thunder. But there's a lot to like in here, and it's really interesting. I love that it's playing 2 cards that we just wrote. Definitely Tentacles I wrote off. Kagemitsu, I was kind of like, hey, this card is pretty good, But 2 cards that a lot of people wrote off, right? And it's kind of having some success. So let's talk about it. So he did a couple first to 10s-ish. Kind of like, I can let you say sets, like first to 10 sets, because they did one. Let me try to find this one. So this was the let me just go through his Twitter. Where was this? Sorry, I thought I had this one up because he did a first to 10 against Forest, and then he did a first to 10. Yes, here it is. He did a first to 10 against Artifact. Was that the right one? No. Sorry, that was sorry about this. Okay, we'll just talk about this one. I'll find the other one. I'll leave the link in the description for his Twitter. You can go through. Also his stream. He streamed all of these first to 10s and sets and stuff as well. So this one was against Parachan's freaking Rune. I saw Wish because that's the Japanese name of the Rune class. He played the normal sword list, right? The normal, whatever, the luminous stuff, all that, right? 0-10. It got hosed by Rune. Not surprising to me. There are some people that think sword counters Rune. I have no idea. I wish I was living in their world, because obviously I love sword. But then he said, hey, let's switch over to the Kagemitsu build. So the Kagemitsu build, the result was 1 to 4 going first, 2 to 3 going second, and then 4 to 1 going first again because they redid it basically. At least that's how it looks like, how I'm reading it. So again, not amazing success, but there's stuff there. There's something to be built upon here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just really excited about this deck. I think this is really cool. I'm interested to see where this goes. I think Kagemitsu is just, in my opinion, I've said this, I think it's just a good card. It's just a good card. It's gonna find play somewhere. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a really cool deck to see move forward. I think I'm gonna play it a little bit. I'm gonna try to tinker with it. But there was the the basis is there, so, you know, go ahead and try it. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at in the meta. I would say definitely Forest Rune, Artifact are like tier 1, and then everything else is just sort of in this weird, you know, cauldron moving around. And I'm really interested to see what set 2 is going to bring for us. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope this video helped you guys in some way. And let me know if you guys are going to try any of these lists or any of these things today. And make sure, again, oh, that is what I wanted to say. So, in 33 hours, exactly, from filming, the set 2 stream is going to start. I will be here streaming it. It's going to be late for me, but I love this is what I love to do for Shadowverse. I love, you know, staying up, watching these streams, watching these reactions, or reacting to the new cards and everything. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting because I think we need a little bit of like a you know, revigoration into the game. So yeah. All right, I'll see you guys later, and have a good one. Bye bye.